Oh, with Pac and Suge? Yeah, this was during the time that I was signed to Motown Records. And Andre Harrell had taken over Motown. I think this was the first year.
Hollywood award season parties are wild, but nothing prepared a young Jason Weaver for what happened at the Motown party. Executives running, people scrambling for the exits, and then Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight walked in. What happened next? It changed the entire room and Jason's life that night. Stay tuned because you won't believe how intense it got. In the mid-90s, Hollywood industry parties were supposed to be glamorous. Executives networking, artists celebrating, deals being made behind closed doors. But according to actor and singer Jason Weaver, one of those nights suddenly turned into complete chaos. Executives started running out of the building, people scrambling for the exits. And the reason, two very powerful figures had just arrived, Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight. And when they walked into that Motown party, the entire room changed. At the time, Jason Weaver was a young artist signed to Motown Records. Motown had just entered a new chapter because legendary executive Andre Harrell had taken control of the label. The industry was buzzing with excitement. People believed Andre Harrell was about to bring Motown back to prominence. So after the Soul Train Music Awards, Andre decided to host a massive party in Los Angeles. A party that would bring together some of the biggest names in the industry. And Jason Weaver was there.
Oh, with Pac and Suge? Yeah, this was during the time that I was signed to Motown Records. And Andre Harrell had taken over Motown. I think this was the first year of his tenure there. And so it was all the buzz of black music that Andre was about to turn Motown around, or at least that's what they were hoping. And so Andre had all these big billboards along Sunset Boulevard, where he was in the big chair, had the Motown sweater hanging over, and it had the slogan or the mantra at the bottom of it, and it was "It's on," and everybody was talking about it. So I believe it was the Soul Train Music Awards. I forgot which Soul Train Music Awards, but all of the acts from Motown and the executives, all of us were flown out from New York so that we could attend the Soul Train Awards, and so that the industry could see the fleet of artists, if you will, that Andre was going to be putting out during his tenure there. And I was one of them. And so Andre threw this big after party at this restaurant off of Sunset Plaza. And if anybody knows Sunset Boulevard, and particularly Sunset Plaza, there's a little strip on Sunset Boulevard.
Now, if you've never heard stories about Hollywood award season, the after, events can get pretty intense. Once the award show wraps up, artists and executives start moving from one gathering to another, to 5, sometimes even 6 different events in a single night. But Jason Weaver was still pretty young at the time. He says he was only about 17 or 18 years old, which meant he couldn't really go everywhere like the older artists were going. So instead, he decided to stay at the Motown celebration. And honestly, it was already full of energy. The food was there, music was playing, people were dancing, and it felt like half the entertainment industry was inside the building.
The little strip on Sunset Boulevard called Sunset Plaza that basically has all of these kind of high-end hangout restaurants where people eat outside and, do the Hollywood bougie thing. It's like right there in the middle of all of the power and affluence of Hollywood. And so Andre throws a Motown party at a restaurant there in Sunset Plaza, and everyone's there, and it's cracking. You got your industry who's who, and usually how these industry parties go, for people who aren't familiar with it, especially during award season, you hit 5 or 6 different parties in one night after the actual award show. So you kind of just bounce from party to party. So there's always a new crowd that circulated in and out of these parties. Well, I was only
But while Jason was enjoying the party, something strange suddenly caught his attention. He looked toward the entrance of the restaurant, and what he saw immediately confused him because people weren't casually leaving the party. They were running. Executives, industry insiders, people rushing toward the exit like something serious was about to happen. Jason said it looked like people thought the place was about to get shot up, and that's when he realized something big was happening.
So as I'm dancing with some young lady or whatever, and I happen to glance over to my right where the entrance of the restaurant is, and I just see all of these executives and industry folk just literally scrambling out of the door. And I mean at a feverish pace, like they leaving like the shit about to get shot up or something. So I'm looking around like, man, what the hell is going on?
Moments later, Jason looked outside and saw 2 luxury cars pull up, 2 Bentleys, and when the doors opened, 2 very recognizable figures stepped out, Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight. At the time, Tupac was already one of the most influential rappers in the world, and Suge Knight, he was the powerful CEO of Death Row Records, a label that dominated the West Coast, but also had a reputation for bringing a very intense presence wherever they went.
And so all of a sudden you see the 2 Bentleys pull up. I think Suge was in a red one and Pac was in a white one or something like that. So I'm looking, and then I see Suge and Pac get out, and Dre, and I think Dre was with him. Too. And they start mobbing through the party. And they're asking where's Andre at? They're asking where's Andre? I don't know if they asked for Puff. I don't think they asked for Puff, but I know that they asked for Andre. And they asked for a couple of the other Motown executives who were former Uptown executives. And so I'm seeing them mob through the party, and I mean, they doing the LA West Coast. They up in people's faces. They like, man, where's so-and-so at? Oh, what you drinking? What you eating? Like they like that. It's pretty aggressive.
According to Jason Weaver, Tupac and Suge didn't just casually walk into the party, they were looking for someone. Jason says they started moving through the crowd, asking people questions, trying to find Andre Harrell and other Motown executives, and the way they were approaching people made the entire room tense. No one knew what was about to happen, but the energy inside the party completely changed. Now imagine being a teenager at a party, and suddenly Tupac Shakur walks right toward you. That's exactly what happened to Jason. Pac was moving through the crowd, scanning the room, and then suddenly, he looked right at Jason. But instead of confrontation, something unexpected happened. Pac actually recognized him.
And so, all of a sudden, Pac just starts moving around me, and of course, I'm in amazement because it's Tupac. I'm like, oh my God, it's Pac. And as he's looking over people, looking around, he just directly centers on me. Hey, little Mike! Man, what you doing up in here, man? What you doing drinking it? And he just, he and I had a quick laugh. I think he was really, he was amused at the fact that I was so young in there. I was probably one of the youngest people in there. I'm in there partying, dancing with a grown woman. I got a little fluted champagne or whatever. And I think he just got a big kick out of that. And then he remembered meeting me.
Even though Tupac was friendly with Jason, the overall energy of the room was still intense because during the 90s, Death Row Records had a very serious reputation in Los Angeles. Suge Knight wasn't just a music executive, he had connections and influence that made people nervous, which meant when the Death Row crew walked into a room, people noticed.
Man, like Suge in particular, back during the Death Row era, and when Death Row was really active and LA was really active. Yeah, man, like Suge and Death Row, that was a force. Like, because they had cats within that organization that were represented on both sides. They're representing the blue flag and the red flag and everything else in between. You feel me? So they had a lot of LA street power and muscle. So whenever you would see any of those guys, it was like oh shit, these niggas here.
Jason Weaver also says that this wasn't the only time he saw chaos happen when Suge Knight showed up somewhere. There was another moment he remembers very clearly. At a famous Hollywood hotel, Suge Knight walked into the lobby, and almost instantly, a fight broke out.
And so I'll never forget, man, I was sitting there chilling in the lobby of Hotel Nico, and I was just having a random conversation with John Sally, who at that time, you know, I didn't even know he smoked or nothing like that, but John Sally was like from the Bulls and from the Detroit Pistons. So I was like tripping on the fact I'm sitting with John Sally, he's smoking a little doobie or whatever, and we kicking in. It's, you know, it's a party going on in the lobby. And then Suge walks in. And evidently he came there to see somebody, because he immediately walked into the area where everybody was congregating and hanging out and drinking. And he got at somebody and a fight broke out, and it was cats hopping over the sofas, hopping over chairs. It was like, it was mayhem. But that was the kind of energy, you know, that Death Row would bring.
And during that time, the tension between the East Coast and West Coast was already reaching dangerous levels. The rivalry between Bad Boy Records and Death Row Records had become one of the most talked about conflicts in hip-hop, and when tragedy struck, the entire industry felt it.
Yes, I was there. As a matter of fact, when Big got killed, my cousin Kevin and I were living in Los Angeles. We had just shot the pilot to Smart Guy. I'll never forget, because we were living on a street. We were staying in this apartment in Koreatown that my mother had gotten us. She didn't really know Los Angeles like that, but she had us in this random ass apartment that she had booked for us in Koreatown. And I remember I was frustrated living there or staying there at the time, because all of the parties where everything was happening was west of us. It was everything was in Beverly Hills. You know, everything was off of Fairfax, Mid Wilshire, you know, that area. And the night that Big got killed, my cousin Kevin and I were actually going to meet up with my A&R director and my big brother at that time, Chuck Bone, who was a A&R executive at Motown. And he was all cool with the Bad Boy crew. And so he's like, yo, we about to go over to this party and that party. You know, if y'all can make it, you know, pull up. But Kevin and I ended up not pulling up, because I think I had to maybe work or something the next day. But then that's when we got the call. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning, and Chuck had called me and Kevin to let us know what had happened to Big. And then he was letting us know that everybody that was from New York that was there was scrambling to get on flights to go back east.
After Biggie Smalls was killed in Los Angeles, the atmosphere became extremely tense. Artists from New York didn't know what might happen next. Some people believed retaliation might be coming, and according to stories from that night, many people started leaving the city as fast as possible.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, it's so funny, because, well, not funny, but I saw an interview with Ed Lover years ago. And Ed Lover was talking about how, you know, all of them, when Big first got killed, everybody had rushed to Cedars-Sinai Hospital, where they were trying to save Big's life. And so pretty much everybody from New York was there in the emergency waiting room, praying and waiting to receive news regarding his condition. And from what I recall from him in this interview, what he's saying is, as soon as they found out, you know, that he had passed, then that's when everybody began to, you know, kind of scramble and figure out, well, shit, maybe I need to get up out of here, because we don't know, you know, what kind of threat this is or where it's coming from. And so I think he, even from what he had said, if I remember correctly, I think he had to catch a flight out of Long Beach Airport, because like everybody was converged upon LAX and Burbank.
But people who were around Tupac during that era say he was also extremely emotional and passionate, and sometimes that passion could turn into anger.
Pac, it was talking. They was just talking.
Correct.
And they both got louder and louder. But Pac, man, Pac was highly upset.
Yeah.
That he put his neck on the line, and you know that happened. And so he had to be upset to be hollering at Suge. I ain't never seen that. Well, Suge got back at him, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it was just like big bro,
like
little bro.
Exactly, that's all.
It ain't like, okay, they saying fuck each other. And that's because, you know, that's how the internet toss everything up and let it crumble in front of their face and all that shit. But no, they still had love and all that. It was just like, chill out. Just like I told you, I used to telling you, chill out. I saw Suge was telling you, chill out. Don't worry about it. But Pac was super mad.
At Death Row, loyalty meant everything. The people around Pass believed in him so much that they were willing to risk their lives for him.
I ain't never seen that man and come out verbally like that. Never.
Gotcha.
I done seen him take off. But just talking shit on Dre. I heard he used to come up to the studio, you know, certain nights and all this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen that. But they straightened it out. But you know, that was a cool situation, man.
Yeah.
That fucked all of us up.
Yeah.
We ride for you, homie. Where you at?
Yeah.
We ready to put our life on the line, and you ain't even fucking with us. You know what I'm saying?
There were also stories circulating during that time about tension inside the label itself. Rumors, speculation, stories that the internet later exaggerated. But according to people who were actually there, many of those moments were simply heated conversations between brothers.
And that he had a screwdriver or a knife, and he put his hat or his jacket over his head because he felt like something was going to happen to him. Did you feel the tension like that, or how did you feel? What would have happened to Snoop? Do you think Suge would even allow anything to happen to, to Snoop on y'all watch?
Nah. If anything, him and Pac would have had to get down.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only thing that would have happened if something was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Other than that, it wasn't nothing finna happen.
Looking back now, Jason Weaver says that night at the Motown party perfectly captured the energy of the 90s hip-hop era, a time when music industry politics, street influence, and superstar personalities all collided in the same room. And for a brief moment that night, a glamorous Hollywood party turned into a situation where the entire industry held its breath, all because Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight had just walked through the door. Looking back now, that night at the Motown party says a lot about the energy of the 90s hip-hop era. It was a time when music, power, and reputation all collided in the same room. One moment, the party was full of laughter, music, and industry executives celebrating, and the next moment, people were rushing for the exits, not because anything had happened yet, but because Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight had just walked in, and during that era, their presence alone could instantly change the atmosphere. For Jason Weaver, it became one of those unforgettable moments that showed just how intense the industry could get behind closed doors. A glamorous Hollywood party that suddenly had the entire room holding its breath. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the next video on your screen for more untold stories from the music industry.